I'm struggling so hard to stay focused right now. Hi guys, it's Sarah. Welcome back to another video here on my channel. I hope you guys are doing well. Happy Monday. We're gonna talk about Once Upon a Time. I've been filming for a couple hours already today and I'm just kind of like, I feel like I'm getting weirder and weirder. So I'm either gonna get really calm and really focused, or the energy is just gonna keep going up. You guys are finding me through this series. Please consider subscribing. I am here every Monday talking about Once Upon a Time, and every Friday talking about the Vampire Diaries. We're doing long form recaps of both shows, and then we're gonna do the spin-offs. Okay, so episode 4, we open with what we can kind of assume is OUAT's version of Cinderella. So we've got a girl, she's cleaning up outside of a nice fancy house. There's a woman getting into a carriage with 2 girls. So, you know, we're looking at Cinderella and her mom and the evil stepsisters. A fairy shows up and she's like, oh, don't worry, I'm here, I'm your fairy godmother, I'm gonna help you, I'm gonna get you sent to the ball, everything's gonna work out. And then before she can do her spell, Rumpel shows up. He freaking disintegrates the fairy godmother and takes her wand. So then our Cinderella is like, hello, she was about to help me. And Rumpel's like, oh, trust me, sweetheart, you didn't want that magic, it always comes with a price. She is like, no, you don't understand, my life is terrible and I wanted to pay the price. What can I give you? Do you know how to use that wand? I will literally give you anything if you will help me the way she was going to. Rumpel is like, okay, anything at all? Are you sure? And she's like, yes, please just get me out of here, get me to my new life. So he draws up a contract for her, she signs on the dotted line, she gets her beautiful ball gown moment, her glass slippers, and she runs off to the ball. Back in Storybrooke, Emma's walking Henry to school. She's in her iconic red leather jacket. We've not talked about it very much. It's in the pictures I'm using for her, but like, this thing is a staple. This is like Emma's item of clothing, okay? They set up code names for each other, and she's like, well, you can just call me Emma for now. How about that? And it's really cute because it's clear that like Henry would like to call her mom. Like, you can feel that in the air, and she's kind of like, is that what he's asking me right now? But then he just runs off to school and is like, bye Emma, have a good day. Graham pulls up and thanks her for helping to find David, and then says, I want you to be my new deputy. She's been in town for like a week, and this man is straight up just like, move here and live with us, be my deputy. I pick you. She's worried that Regina's gonna be upset, but he says it's his department and he can do what he wants. Regina comes and meets Emma while Emma's having breakfast at the diner, and is just kind of like, I know you walked Henry to the bus, but I don't care because now I know all about you and I know that you're not gonna be a problem for much longer. So basically, Regina's done some more digging on Emma, and she's found out that Emma's lived in like 7 different places since she got out of the foster care system. The longest she stayed anywhere was Tallahassee, and even that wasn't that long. So she's just been bouncing around, going from place to place, and Regina's just not worried about her sticking around for Henry. She does say, you should tell him though, and while you're like enjoying your little transient lifestyle, you should remember that at some point you're gonna leave him, so it would be easier if you just made a clean break. Emma somehow stands up and manages to pour her cocoa completely down the front of her outfit, so then Ruby takes her to the laundry room so she can change her shirt. In the laundry room, she finds Ashley, which is our Cinderella, but in Storybrooke. She is very, very pregnant and struggling because she's all alone. She says that nobody believes in her, nobody believes she can have the baby, she can handle herself, and Emma, who has been through this before, says that she had her kid at 18. Ashley is 19, just for reference. Emma's like, I had my kid at 18. And I made it work. She says that whatever Ashley is considering doing or giving up, that choice is Ashley's to make because she knows what's best for her and her baby, and nobody can tell her that. She's got to decide that for herself. We cut very abruptly to Mr. Gold shutting up his shop at the end of the day. Then we see Ashley breaking into the shop. She goes for a safe in the back corner and is like breaking into that. He comes in and catches her, and she freaking pepper sprays him and knocks him out. She like pushes him and he hits his head. Then she takes his key, gets into the safe, takes something, and leaves. Regina is then getting ready for a Saturday city council meeting. She tells Henry that she's so sorry, but she'll be back by 5 and he is not to leave the house. And Henry's like, you mean I'm not allowed to see my mom? And Regina's like, she's not your mother. Stay in the house. She did say she was going to be gone until 5 though, so like we all know Henry's not going to listen. Emma has had her stuff shipped from her apartment in Boston to her now loft rental situation with Mary Margaret. She only has like 5 boxes of stuff. Mary Margaret is shocked by this, and Emma just says she's not that sentimental. Mr. Gold then shows up at the door looking for Emma. He explains that Ashley broke into his store and stole something from him, and he's coming to Emma to have Emma track her down because he doesn't want to get Ashley in trouble with the police since she's pregnant, so he doesn't want to ruin her life. He just wants what she took out of his safe because it's his property and he wants it back. Emma agrees because she also doesn't want to see Ashley get hurt. Henry shows up, and he's super nervous around Mr. Gold, but Mr. Gold's really nice to him. Once Mr. Gold leaves, Henry's like, okay, so do you know who that is? And Emma's like, oh, no, who is he? Do you know? And Henry's like, no, I haven't figured it out yet, but when I do, I mean, like, he's suspicious. We'll figure it out. He wants to go with her to help her find Ashley, and she's like, yeah, you absolutely cannot come with me. This is gonna be dangerous. And Henry's like, but I just want to spend time with you. And she gives in because she's like, that is so incredibly not fair. So Henry gets to go on the mission for the day. We go back to Cinderella in the Enchanted Forest. She's all dressed up. It's her and the prince's wedding. Snow and Charming are there. We love a crossover moment. It's so cute. The prince's dad dances with Cinderella and says he's so glad she joined their family, and then he hints that he's ready for grandchildren whenever they are. Snow dances with her too, and she says that Ella is like an inspiration to the whole kingdom because she showed everybody that you can change your fate no matter the life you're born into. Then Rumple shows up to check in with Cinderella and make sure she's satisfied with her end of the bargain. This is when he tells us that the thing he wants is her firstborn child. Yeah. A little while later, Ella is freaking out and packing to leave the castle. The prince comes in and catches her and is like, are we going on a trip? What's going on? And then he's like, wait, are you going on a trip? Are you leaving me? What's happening? She starts to cry. She says that something's happened and she's pregnant. He is like, oh my God, this is the best news ever. This is amazing. I can't wait to tell everybody. And she's like, no, you don't understand. And then she just spills everything and explains what happened with Rumple and the deal and how he tricked her and all of this. And the prince is like, okay, well, you're not going anywhere. Like, this doesn't change how I feel about you. You know, even though you use magic to help you get to the ball, nothing was magical about, you know, me falling in love with you. That happened because I love you. So our love is real. The baby's real. All of that is not going to change. You're not going to lose me. You're not going to lose anything. Everything's fine. We just need to figure out how to handle Rumple. And he says he wants to make another deal. Emma goes to Ruby trying to get information about Ashley since they're friends. There's a couple different like groups of ages in the town. A lot of people are very similarly aged. Okay, they're all like late 20s, early 30s, all right? But Ruby and Ashley are younger than that. There is a guy messing with Ruby's car. His name is Billy. This is what he looks like. He'll be important later. Ruby says that Ashley does have a stepmom and 2 stepsisters, but they are not kind and they are not helping Ashley. Then she says that Ashley had an ex-boyfriend, but he left the second he found out that she was pregnant. She explains that Ashley is trying like really, really hard to get her life together. She's got a job, she's going to night classes, she's trying to prepare for the baby. She's just all by herself and she's terrified. And Ruby doesn't want her to get into any trouble, but she sends Emma after the ex-boyfriend, hoping that maybe he'll have some answers. The boyfriend is the prince. He lives in this fancy house across town with his dad. The dad in this world is a huge jerk, and he's like, yeah, we don't want anything to do with her. She was trying to ruin my son's life. Like, absolutely not. She's not having a baby with him. No, no, no. Emma tries to convince the prince, whose name is Sean here, that he needs to come. Ashley needs him. He needs to be a parent. Clearly, he still cares about Ashley. He's just letting his dad control him. The dad like shoves Sean out of the way and tells Emma that he went through a lot of trouble to get Ashley the deal that he got her, and so Emma needs to back off. It's revealed that Ashley sold her baby to Mr. Gold so that he would give her enough money and she could start her new life, and he would take the baby and find it a new home. That's why Mr. Gold hired Emma instead of going to the police, because it's not a super legit operation that he's running, and he just wanted Emma to bring back the property, which is the freaking baby. Emma's pissed, but she agreed to help Mr. Gold, and now Henry is terrified of her breaking that deal. So Emma goes back to Ruby and tells her what's happened, and we realize that Ruby's car is gone, okay? So Ruby actually helped Ashley get out of town, and then when Emma is like, you have to tell me what's going on right now, what is happening, Ruby makes it clear that she's not gonna talk unless Henry leaves. So Emma convinces Henry to go, and he runs off. And then Ruby confirms, yes, Ashley left town. She's running away to Boston. I just wanted to help her. I wanted to get her away from Mr. Gold. This was gonna give her her best chance. I was just helping her get away. So Emma gets in her car and starts frantically rushing out of town. She's trying to get to Ashley. And then Henry pops up in her back seat. She wants to take him home because she's like, dude, I can't take you with me to Boston. And he's like, no, you don't understand. Ashley can't get to Boston. The second she tries to leave town, something bad's gonna happen. We have to get to her really quickly and stop her. In the Enchanted Forest, we see Cinderella being taken down to the cell where we know they're gonna put Rumpelstiltskin by her prince. His name is Thomas in the Enchanted Forest, and then Charming. Yes, our boy. So we know that whatever their plan is probably going to work because we know that we've seen Rumpel in the cell before. This is just how he got locked up. Basically, they want Ella to convince Rumpel to make a new deal with her. She's gonna lie to him and tell him that she's having twins, and she needs to sell both babies to him, so they need a new contract. And then when he signs with the magical quill that they have, it will freeze him from being able to use his magic, and they'll finally be able to lock him up in prison. She's afraid of using more magic, but the prince is like, don't worry about it, honey. Whatever the price is, I will gladly pay it. That will come back to haunt him. Emma and Henry find Ashley, and she is minutes away from having her child. So Ashley's freaking out because she's like, I can't have the baby here. I have to get it away from Mr. Gold. Emma is like, that's not gonna hold up in court. You can keep your baby. We will figure it out. Are you sure you want the baby? And then she gives her this whole speech about like, you have to be ready. You don't get to leave later. You can't abandon them again. You can't change your mind. Like once you have this kid and you say it's yours, you gotta keep it forever. And Henry's in the back seat listening to all of this. And it's definitely a little emotionally scarring for him. But Ashley is like, I want my baby. I want to keep my baby. So they get her to the hospital. Back in the Enchanted Forest, Ella has her meeting with Rumpel. She explains how she wants to alter the bargain since she's having twins. The kingdom is like suffering and crops aren't growing, so she'll give him the first baby as payment for the original deal, and then she'll give him the second baby if he'll make sure that the fields grow food and the kingdom is like taken care of and everybody's fine. He agrees that this new deal is more than fair as long as what she's saying is true. She offers him the pen and is like, all you have to do is sign. He says he knows she must not be trying to stop him because if she does, her debt to him will only grow. She insists that he signs, and then the second he does, he's like frozen, and Charming and the prince run out and go to capture him. Rumpel starts yelling at Cinderella, no matter where you go, no matter where you are, I will find you and I will have that baby, which is so not fun. In the hospital, Ashley has her baby and Mr. Gold shows up to take it from her. The baby's a girl also. We go back to the forest. Ella's freaking out because she's afraid Rumpel is serious. She's afraid he's gonna figure out how to take the baby. But her prince is like, I promise you, nothing's gonna happen. As long as I'm alive, as long as I'm here, you're gonna be taken care of, you're gonna be safe. He's picked out the name Alexandra for the baby. She starts having pain and says that something is wrong, so he runs off to get her water because she feels like she's gonna pass out. He goes to a well nearby to get said water, and then he hears something rustling about in the woods. She calls for him and is like, hey, the pain is gone, I'm fine. But he doesn't come back. She goes to the well to find her prince, and he's gone. She comes running back to the carriage where Charming is locking Rumpel up. He's like, hey, where'd your husband go? And she's like, he took him, Rumpel took him. But Rumpel says that he didn't take the prince. And it sounds like whatever price the magic was asking for, somebody just paid it. Back at the hospital, Emma confronts Mr. Gold and is like, why didn't you tell me what was actually going on here? He says he didn't think he needed to because he assumed that once Emma saw how much Ashley was struggling, she would encourage her to do the right thing and give the baby up. He brings up that Emma herself was a foster child, and does she really want to put Ashley in that position? Because if he calls the police, surely they're going to take the baby from her. Emma says she's willing to roll the dice that the contract that he made won't hold up, because there's not a court system that will willingly take a baby from a mom when she's saying she wants the baby. He says he likes Emma because she's not afraid of him, and he'd like her to be on his side. He also says he's not going to tear the contract up, and if Emma really wants Ashley to keep the baby, then Emma's going to have to owe him a favor instead. Emma agrees. So Ashley gets to keep the baby, and then Emma realizes it's almost 5 and they have to get Henry home. We cut to Regina in a hotel room, like straightening her hair and makeup and like fixing her clothes. There's a shower running behind her, and then she says, "I have to go now. Henry's expecting me home by 5. See you at the next council meeting." Emma is rushing Henry home, and when they get there, she says that she'd like her code name to be Pumpkin. He says he's got a better one picked out for her, but he's not sure she's ready for it yet. So he goes rushing inside, and then she stops him and says that even though she can leave town, she's not going anywhere and he'll see her tomorrow. This was a concern of Henry's because, like, when Ashley was leaving, Henry made it clear that Emma and Henry can go out of town and things won't happen to them, but the people that are stuck in the town have to stay. So technically, Emma could leave whenever she wants without repercussions, but she's telling Henry in this moment, "I'm not going anywhere, you don't have to worry about that." So then Regina comes home and finds Henry up in his room pretending to read, so he got away with it. She does not know where he was. Sean goes to Ashley at the hospital. He says he's so sorry that he ever let his dad convince him to leave, and he's back and he wants to help her. And then he brings out little shoes for the baby, so he got the baby little slippers. Emma calls Graham and says that she wants to stay and accepts the job of being his deputy. He says, "All right, I don't care if Regina's upset. It's my department, just like I told you, and I'll see you on Monday." Then we cut to Graham in the same hotel room that Regina has just been in, getting dressed from his shower. So Regina and Graham have been having a secret relationship this whole time. I bet you weren't expecting this guy right here, Archie, to have a full backstory episode, but you are gonna get it today, all right? And it's episode 5. We open with a puppet show of a prince saving a princess from a dragon. While it's happening, there is a boy pickpocketing the crowd. The boy takes this back to the people that were doing the puppet show. They're his parents, and that's what they do. They steal from people, okay? They're con artists. They're not good people. The parents are very terrible. Think the innkeepers from Les Mis, all right? That's what we're working with here. The little boy, though, is like, "I don't think I want to steal anymore. Like, why can't we just be good people? Why can't we just have normal jobs? Why do we have to do this for a living?" They say, "Jiminy, there's no changing who you are. This is what we do. Deal with it." If it's not obvious, by the way, my cat Elijah is right here. So we cut to Archie in his office with Henry. Archie's being really, really sweet and gentle with Henry about the fact that, you know, Henry thinks he's a cricket. Henry's pretty insistent though, and he's like, "Dude, of course you're Jiminy Cricket. You're everybody's conscience. Like, you teach people what's right and wrong." Archie's like, "So does that mean that all the crickets in Storybrooke used to be people?" And Henry's like, "Archie, my guy, there aren't any crickets." And Archie's like, "What are you talking about?" Henry opens the window, and sure enough, there's no crickets. There's no cricket sounds. And Henry's like, "Yeah, we've never had crickets here before. I don't know where you've been, but we don't have crickets." So Emma refuses to wear the uniform that Graham tries to give her, but she does accept the badge. The second she clips it onto her hip, there's like a boom and an explosion, and like an earthquake situation unfolds. We cut to the town mines. There's been a cave-in. This is when Regina finds out that Emma has been hired by Graham, and oh boy, she's not happy about it. Regina tells the gathered crowd that this place has never been fully safe, and she's gonna remodel it. She's gonna tear it down and repave it and make a safe area for all of them. Henry is like, "Tear it down, repave it? What are you hiding in the mines, evil stepmother?" We also see Regina pick something like sharp and like glass, like a weird shard of glass up off the ground, and she pockets it. And Henry's like, I knew it. I knew she was hiding something. So Henry calls Emma and Archie over and is like, okay, Operation Cobra, we've got to get in the mines. They don't believe him, but Henry is like, something happened, like something triggered this. And Emma realizes, oh, it did happen the second I put my badge on my hip. So there's just a lot of like weird coincidences that for Emma, who doesn't believe that the curse is real, are starting to like slowly add up. And each episode, she's just getting more and more like, is my child telling the truth? Regina lashes out at Archie because his treatment plan is like clearly not working. And she says that from now on, they're gonna do things her way. Because she's sick of Henry like being afraid of her and distrusting her and thinking that everything she does is something out of this like evil curse that's not even real. She tells Archie that he needs to remember that he's an employee and she's his employer and she can fire him. Not only that, she's the mayor of the town, so she can take his practice and his house and crush him like a worthless little bug. And Archie's just standing there like, Madam Mayor, hold on. He asks what she wants him to do. She says that she wants him to take that delusion out of Henry's head and crush it. We go back to the Enchanted Forest. Archie is grown up now. His parents are older. He is like ready to leave. At this point, he's a grown man and he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I hate that I'm here with you guys. I gotta go. And they're like, no, actually, you cannot. You have to stay until we die. While Archie is like setting up for the show that night, it's raining and a little boy comes. He's got an umbrella and he's watching Archie and he's just like, this is the coolest job ever. Like, you get to play with puppets all day. That's amazing. Archie says he actually kind of hates his job, but he can't change it because it's who he is. Then Archie gets distracted by the sound of crickets. He has already in the episode told his parents that he wishes he was a cricket because crickets are free and they can just hop around wherever they want to go and they don't have to be weighed down by problems. So this is another moment of him being like, I wish I was just a freaking cricket. The little boy is like, you're gonna catch a cold if you're out here on your own in the rain. So he gives him his umbrella and runs home to his house. Archie has another session with Henry. Archie's like very much upset and distraught in this session. Henry doesn't really seem to notice that though, and he's just going on and on about how they need to go down to the mines, they need to figure out what Regina's hiding, and Archie is so worried about Henry, and in this moment, it's more so like worried about his safety because Henry's very much just like, I'm going to the mines, I'm gonna figure out what's going on, and Archie is like, you can't do that, Henry. You have to wake up. You have to let this go because you're crossing over from like fantasy and like comfort imagination moments into delusions and psychosis. And if you go to that place, we have to take you away and lock you up because you're not going to be able to tell reality from fantasy. And that's dangerous for yourself and for everybody around you. So you have to wake up. Henry's like, what are you talking about, Archie? Like, I'm not crazy. And Archie is like, Henry, it's time to put this nonsense away. This makes Henry cry and he runs away. And then Archie is left there in his office also crying because Henry is a 10-year-old boy and the queen is a monster. Mary Margaret and Charming are at the hospital being cute as hell together. Okay, they're playing hangman. They're separated by a little table, and there is just so much tension. There is so much flirting going on. It's so much. He can't remember things, but he's like, it's okay though. I think I like these new memories better. And he just, the way he looks at her, it's no wonder the girl fell in love with him. It is no freaking wonder. But then Catherine comes in, you know, his wife, and she's got a box of memories and she's showing him pictures, and Mary Margaret is like, I'm gonna go. And Catherine is so nice to Mary Margaret. Like, they're so nice to each other, but Mary Margaret is like, this is the worst. And she leaves. And and we see Charming like looking at a picture, and Catherine is like, that's your dog, Ajax. And Charming's like, oh yeah, Ajax, of course. So we cut to Mary Margaret stress eating ice cream with Emma. She is having such a hard time because she wants to be with Charming. And like clearly Charming wants to be with her. But then Catherine is so freaking nice. And she's just like such a good wife and she's trying to help him. And Emma's like, why would it be easier if Catherine was mean, Mary Margaret? David's married. And that is the end of it. There is no other options here. And Mary Margaret's like, yeah, I know. I know. And she's just eating her ice cream. And then Henry comes home and he's sobbing. I just want to touch base on the whole Mary Margaret, Catherine, David situation, because if I haven't said it before, I'm going to say it right now. Cheating is like a big no-no for me. It's like one of the ickiest things. I don't like when it happens in TV shows or movies. It's just not fun for me. This is one of the only situations where I'm like, screw the wife, because she's not really David's wife. It's a curse. We already know that Snow and Charming are married with a child, okay? So it's just not normal cheating trope, all right? So anything I say pertaining to the two of them and me wanting them to be together is not how I normally feel, okay? Anyway, so Henry showed up sobbing. So now Emma goes after Archie and she's like, what did you do? You told me not to tell him he was crazy. You said it would break him, and look, he's broken. Before Archie can fully explain, Regina calls Emma, and Emma thinks, are you looking for Archie? He's right here, and I'm yelling at him. I know what you did, and this man is terrified. Regina's like, I don't care about Archie. I'm looking for Henry. Emma's like, girl, I dropped him off at your office a few minutes ago. And Regina is like, well, he's not here. Archie realizes in horror that Henry's gone to the mines. We cut to that, and we see Henry with a little flashlight going down into the mines to play explorer. We go back to the Enchanted Forest. Rumpelstiltskin is sitting at his little spinning wheel, turning straw into gold. Archie comes in and delivers him treasures and the names of the people that the treasures belong to, and Rumpel pays him in gold thread. It becomes clear, though, that Archie wants something else, and they enter into a deal where Rumpel gives him like a little vial of liquid, and he's like, sprinkle this on your parents' food or give it to them in their drinks, and you'll be free of them. Like, you'll be able to go, and everything will be fine. You'll have everything you want. You'll be free. Archie is like, okay, but what's gonna happen to my parents? And Rumpel's like, don't worry about it. That's what I want in return, though. Whatever happens to them, just leave them where they are, and I'll come collect them and I'll make sure they're safe. So you get to have the life you want, and your parents will be with me and I'll look after them. And Archie agrees. Emma and Archie go to the mines and find evidence that Henry has gone inside. Inside the mines, Henry's looking around. He finds another little glass shard, like the one that Regina had picked up earlier, and then another cave-in happens and Henry takes off running. Outside, Archie and Emma feel the cave-in happening. Archie panics and darts inside the mouth of the cave to try to get to Henry and like call him out. But before he can find Henry / get back out himself, that part of the entrance to the mines caves in. So now Archie's also trapped inside. But Henry heard him and came running, so now Archie and Henry are reunited. Only for a moment, though, because Archie is like, we have to leave. It's not safe to be down here. And Henry's like, I'm gonna find proof of the curse. You can't stop me. And he runs off. Back in the forest, Archie is trying to convince his parents to not do the next con that they want to do, but they insist that they have to, and this is how they make their money. They run what they call the elf tonic scam. They get invited into this friendly young couple's house. Once they're having supper with them and they've gotten to know them a little bit, they're like, hey, have you guys heard about the plague? Yeah, there's a plague like sweeping the town a couple towns over. We're safe because we have our trusty elf tonic, but you guys are screwed. Then, of course, the couple is like, no, you have to let us buy it off of you. What can we do to get it from you? They sell some things and give them some gold. The parents take that stuff and give them a bottle of rainwater. So then the couple is just like scammed out of all their money. At the carriage, Archie is really upset because the couple was really nice. Just like all the people that they con are usually really nice and trusting and like good people. So he tells his parents that he's done and he's not gonna do what they want anymore. And he throws his bottle from Rumpel onto them. But nothing happens. The dad is like, I know we're old, but you're gonna have to do better than that. Rainwater's not gonna hurt us. Yes, so they knew Archie was planning something and they switched the freaking bottles. So Archie goes running back inside the house to stop the couple, but it's too late. They drank the potion and now they are creepy wooden dolls. His parents start laughing and want to take them as new puppets for their sideshow. And then the boy that had given Archie the umbrella at the beginning of the episode runs in, and those are his freaking parents. This is his house. Archie has ruined his life. So down inside the mine, Archie finally finds Henry again, and this time he's gentler with him, and he convinces him, Henry, I don't think you're crazy, okay? I'm sorry I said what I said. I am afraid right now because we are trapped underground with no way out, okay? So we have to work together, and we have to get out of here. Regina and Emma are fighting about whose fault it is that Henry is down in the mines in the first place. They realize kind of at the same time that fighting's not going to do any good, okay? They have to just get Henry out. So Emma is like, what do you want me to do? And Regina says they need to figure out a way to like punch down into the ground and make a hole that they can like pull Henry and Archie out of. Geppetto steps up and he's like, what if we use explosives? Archie and Henry can hear Pongo, which is Archie's dog, and he's barking up above. They follow the sound and end up in an elevator shaft. So they get in the elevator and they're like currently trying to like lift it and raise it to surface level. The rescue crew explodes the rubble, but it doesn't open the entrance of the mines. Instead, it just knocks the elevator down and drops it even farther below ground. Mary Margaret runs into Charming on her way out of the hospital after her shift because I think I've said this, but she is a teacher and then she volunteers at the hospital. So he's planning to go on a walk and he's like, if only I had a volunteer who could go with me. And she agrees and they go out walking together. He really has no memories of the town at all. Like he doesn't remember anything because he's been in the coma for 28 years, okay? He came over during the curse and landed in the hospital in a coma. That's how long Charming was in bed. He says it feels like he just woke up and he's in this strange land and he doesn't know where he is. He's having a hard time with Catherine because it feels like he's disappointing her because he doesn't like feel right with her and nothing she's saying makes sense, even though she's so sure that that was their life together. Mary Margaret is like, I'm so sorry, that sounds really lonely. And Charming is like, yeah, but I have you though. You're the only thing that feels real. You're the only thing that makes sense. Hey-o! Oh my god! And then Catherine shows up and Mary Margaret's like, oh, okay, I have to go. I'm not going to answer what you just said because wow, that was a lot to unpack. And Catherine just swoops in and takes Charming and they go on the walk instead and Mary Margaret has to leave. The rescue team is very upset that the explosions didn't work, so now they're trying to figure out what they can do. Emma realizes Pongo is barking like a crazy person. She lets him out and he leads her to an air shaft and they realize, oh my god, that's an elevator shaft. We could get to them that way. Archie and Henry are now stuck in the elevator shaft, but they are okay, technically. Henry says he's so sorry for getting Archie involved. Archie says it's okay, and he apologizes, and he's like, Henry, you're not crazy. I know you're not crazy. I just think that you have a really strong mom, and it's hard for you to do anything that goes against what she wants you to do. Archie says he understands because he's struggling to be the man that he wants to be, the man that he knows he should be. He doesn't know how to do it. He's having a hard time. Henry is like, Archie, that's because of the curse. You're having a hard time hearing the voice inside of you that tells you what's right and wrong. But he can do it if he tries hard enough. The team above is preparing to lower Emma down through the shaft so that she can get Henry and Archie out. Regina is like, no, but I want to do it. He's my son. And Emma's like, he's my son too. You've been behind a desk. I'm trained for this. And because she's correct, she's the one that gets to go. Archie once again asks Henry why the fairy tale thing has to be true. Like, why is Henry so dead set on this being reality for him? And Henry says, because this can't be all there is. Emma then shows up and she is there to save them. She gets Henry, so she's holding Henry in her arms, and then before they can get Archie, the elevator shaft starts to shake and there's another earthquake. She's freaking out. She's like, Archie, no. He is like, it's okay, you have Henry. The elevator drops, but Archie reached out with his umbrella and hooked it on her carabiner, so they're all okay. There's this hysterical moment where Archie is quite literally just hanging from his umbrella, grinning up at Emma and Henry, and they're looking down at him and everybody's crying. They all get back up to the surface, and when Emma tries to check on Henry, Regina is like, Miss Swan, go clear the crowd. And she like takes Henry away and won't let Emma have time with him. Regina goes to Archie to thank him for helping to save Henry. And Archie is having none of it. He's like, no, You're gonna listen to me now, ma'am. He is such a real one because he's crying, even though he's just like talking through his teeth. He's so angry, he's still crying. He's like, I am gonna continue treating Henry and I'm gonna do it my way. And she's like, you dare defy me? And he's like, yeah, Madam Mayor, I do. Because one day you might find yourself in a custody battle. And do you know who they're gonna ask to help decide who should have custody of Henry? A therapist. When I tell you, she is quaking in her boots, okay? But he stands his ground and he just, it's incredible. It's the best moment. So back in the Enchanted Forest, Archie calls out to the Blue Star for a wish. The Blue Fairy shows up and she's like, you don't have to say it so loudly. I can hear you. Hello. She says that unfortunately, she can't bring back the boy's parents because magic doesn't work like that. He says he would gladly give his life if it could happen. And she's like, okay, well, the little boy is going to grow up to face a lot of challenges. I could make it so that you could go with him and you could be his conscience and his guide and you could help him make the right choices. Do you want to do that? He agrees and she turns him into a cricket and he is over freaking joyed, okay? He's never been happier. This has been his lifelong dream since he was a little boy. She's like, all right, you're good to go. You'll live as long as you need to in order to help your friend. Also, by the way, his name is Geppetto. It's so cute because Jiminy and Geppetto are like best friends in the Enchanted Forest. In the Storybook timeline, Geppetto's name is Marco. So Marco and Archie are also best friends. Emma's like, is that Archie's dad or something? And Henry's like, no, no, no. They're just best buddies. And it's so cute. Emma and Henry have a little heart-to-heart about how much Henry scared her, and he apologizes and says that he just wanted proof, but he never wanted anybody to get hurt. Then Henry realizes that there are crickets around them because they're still at the mine, so they're outside, and there's freaking crickets back in town, so things are changing. At Mr. Gold's store, we see the parent dolls, Geppetto's parents. They're just in Mr. Gold's store. Mary Margaret puts a letter of resignation in at the hospital. Regina walks away from all the rescuers celebrating at the mine, and she drops the shard of glass that she picked up back down the mine shaft, and we watch it go underground. It's part of Snow White's coffin. So episode 6 is called The Shepherd. We open with Catherine bringing Charming home. He has no memory of the house. She tells him it's okay. You know, when they first moved in, he hated it. There was this ugly windmill in the front yard and he just couldn't get his head around it. He didn't want to live there, but now it's their home. And so it can be his home again. Then she takes him inside and there's this huge party with like all of their friends that he has no memories of. And he's very overwhelmed. Dr. Whale is there and he's like, I know this is a lot, David, but the smallest thing could trigger your memories to come back, okay? So just let it happen. Just try to enjoy it. Henry's very insistent that if they can just get Mary Margaret and Charming to get together, then Charming will remember who he is. When Charming comes over to talk to the two of them, he like stabs a carrot on the plate. Like instead of just picking up the carrot, he takes a toothpick and like stabs it. And Henry's like, oh, have you ever used a sword? And Charming's like, have I what now? He asks where Mary Margaret is, and Emma's like, yeah, she's not coming, broski. Regina moves in on Catherine and is just like, you need to be with your husband. Why are you in here trying to make more food? You need to be out there. You need to be with him. You need to be convincing him that you're in love. But Catherine's having a hard time because she already lost David once and now it feels like she's losing him again. Regina admits once again, we keep hearing about this, but we are not gonna get the story yet, okay? It's not coming in this episode. She says that she loved someone once, she lost them, and he could not come back to her, okay? But Catherine is being given a second chance. So that's the push Catherine needs, and now the two of them are besties, okay? They consider each other friends now. David freaking bounced from the party, okay, because he wanted to go find Mary Margaret. For whatever reason, she is outside her loft apartment hanging a birdhouse in the middle of the night, so he takes it from her and offers to do it himself. He asks if she left the hospital because of him, and she's kind of like, yes, I did. You were not supposed to find out about that. And he's like, look, I know that whatever's going on here, whatever I feel, it's not one-sided, okay? Like, we're in this together, aren't we? She's like, dude, you're married, okay? You're literally married. Your wife is so nice. Like, we can't be doing this. He says, whoever married Catherine is gone, okay? He is here now, and he wants to be with Mary Margaret. Mary Margaret's like, whoa, boy, I can't be doing this, and she runs away from him. We cut to Charming back in the Enchanted Forest. He's fighting this big hulk of a man, okay? It's not going super well. It looks like Charming is probably gonna lose, and then he gets the upper hand and kills the other guy. A group of like royalty and knights are watching them. It is Charming's dad and another king. That king is King Midas, okay? He says that his kingdom is currently being plagued by a dragon that none of the warriors have been brave enough to kill, but if Charming can go in and kill it, then he'll reward Charming's kingdom with gold. The knights call for a big toast, and they're like, oh my god, Charming, you killed the guy, like, we're gonna kill that dragon, it's gonna be no problem. And Charming is like, whoa, 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 dudes, relax, okay? We have to be level-headed about this, all right? This is gonna be the biggest quest of our lives. We have to be very smart. And then before he can finish his little speech, the guy that he killed stabs him through the chest, and Charming freaking dies. Of all the ways you thought that scene was gonna end, I bet you didn't expect that. So we cut to the king standing over Charming's dead body. The knights are anxious, but the king is like, help is gonna get here any second. And then we hear Rumple, and he's like, help has arrived, hello. The king orders all the knights to leave, so now it's just Rumple and the king talking. And Rumple is like, I can't believe you treat my gifts like this. And it becomes clear that Charming is with the king because Rumple did another one of those baby situations, you know, because he deals in babies. I meant to look up if Rumpelstiltskin in like the actual fairy tale lore dealt with babies. Like, did he do that? Is that normal? Why is this a thing in Once Upon a Time? It does not stop being a thing, okay? Almost anytime there's a baby involved, it's Rumpelstiltskin's fault, okay? He's the one doing the weird dealings with the little baby children. I don't know. So the king is like, look, I'll give you anything if you'll just help me get my son back. And Rumple, despite what the Blue Fairy told us just in the last episode, that magic cannot bring people back from the dead, Rumple agrees. And he's like, I can do that for you as long as you will help me get the fairy godmother's wand, which is Cinderella's fairy godmother. So we know again that happens. I love the way these stories overlap, okay? It is so cool. The king agrees. And then Rumple is like, yeah, so your son can't be brought back from the dead. But, surprise, surprise, he has a twin brother. We cut to this dude who is our Charming, okay? So the guy that died, that was his brother, all right? Stinky, stinky prince. We don't need to know any more about him. This is our boy. Look at him. Look at the handsome little shepherd, okay? He is living his best life. I love this for him. We go to Emma coming home from the party. She saw David leave, and now she finds Mary Margaret like frantically scrubbing the dishes, okay? She's just getting all her aggression out on the dishware. Emma is like, I know it was hard, but you did the right thing turning David away. Emma also says here that if you think what you're doing is wrong, it usually is. So Mary Margaret needs to stay strong and let David get his life sorted out. David's back at his house looking through that same box of pictures, trying to get his memories to come back. Catherine comes and sits with him, and she's like, I think I'm gonna go to bed soon. Do you wanna come with me? And he's like, do you mean like go to bed or like go to bed? And she laughs and she's like, oh my god, whatever you want, like no pressure, it's okay, everything's fine, it's not a big deal. The show randomly will get so spicy like that just every once in a while. They just slip those jokes in, and until you're like watching it like this, I feel like they kind of go over your head, but when you're looking for them, good lord. He asks if they can just sit and talk for a little while longer, and she's like, absolutely. But then she kisses him, and he kisses her back, and I hate it. I hate it so much. And then he pulls away, and he's like, hold on, this isn't right. That's right, my boy, because you're married. You are already married, and that is not your wife. Back in the Enchanted Forest, our shepherd boy Charming is running around the fields, herding his sheep back into the pasture. We get to meet his mom, and she is quite possibly my favorite mother character from like anything ever. She's so cute, okay? She is so cute. I want to say she's in like maybe 4 episodes. That's pushing it. It might only be like 2, okay? I love her so much. I think she's adorable. She reminds me of my friend Lily's mom. She's so freaking cute. She is trying to very gently get him married off because they need a wealthy girl to marry him and give them a good dowry, or otherwise they're gonna lose their farm. But he's like, Mom, we'll figure it out, okay? I'm gonna marry for love, not riches. Rumple shows up and just puts a wrench in everybody's plans, okay? So then Charming and his mom are talking again, and she's like, yes, you did in fact have a twin brother. Yes, I did in fact sell him to Rumpelstiltskin. Your dad also knew about it. He took that secret to his grave. I didn't think we were ever gonna have to tell you. I'm so sorry you're finding out this way. Rumple's deal, in theory, is very simple. Charming just needs to agree to pretend to be the prince. The knights will kill the dragon, and then Midas will be like, oh my god, yay, Charming, you killed the dragon for us. Here's all the money your kingdom needs. And then the king will give Charming and his mom money so that the house can be taken care of and they won't lose the farm. Charming feels like he doesn't have a choice in the matter because, of course, he wants his mom to be taken care of. Rumple is like, everybody has a choice, just make sure it's the right one. Dr. Whale comes to see Mary Margaret and has the nerve, the absolute nerve, to be like, I hope you didn't quit the hospital because of me. I know it wasn't very cool of me to not call you back, but I just got busy. I'm sorry. Ew! Like, get over yourself. Get over yourself, you stinky, stinky doctor man. No. Then Regina comes in and sits down with Mary Margaret, so she's just getting freaking walloped from all sides. She tells her that Mary Margaret and David do not belong together because David is already married and he already has a life with his wife Catherine, and Catherine is Regina's friend, so Mary Margaret needs to leave David alone. Mary Margaret's like, my girl, I have not done anything. I don't know what you're so upset about, but I have done nothing. I did not do anything. Regina is like, oh, so then I guess David just left Catherine for no reason. And Mary Margaret's like, he did what? And Regina is like, wow, you really don't know. Well, you still need to be careful, okay? Because you're this close to ruining everyone's lives. So back in the Enchanted Forest, Charming has taken over for the prince. He has no idea what he's doing, okay? The knights are taking care of him, though. They're like, you're gonna be fine. We're gonna handle the dragon. Everything's gonna be okay. You put your armor on wrong, and you don't know how to use a sword. So cool it and let us handle it. At the cave where the dragon lives, the guards are absolutely destroyed, okay? They get barbecued so fast. Charming is like, we have to go help them. And the two like page boys that have been left with him to watch him are like, no sir, you cannot go in that cave. And Charming's like, I'm not gonna let those men just freaking get killed on my watch. So he goes running, he tries to save them. He only gets one of them out, okay? He does in fact save one guy though. So he gets that guy out, he tucks him into a rock, and he's like, where's your sword? The guy is like, oh, it's back there. And then we hear a scream. The two poor page boys have now been barbecued. Charming goes running after them. He tries to grab one of their swords. It's super freaking hot though, because they just got nuked by the dragon. I'm talking like disintegrated by the dragon, okay? So he drops that sword. He sees another sword though, and he takes off running after it. The dragon follows him. Charming like goes, they're like on a mountainside, okay? So there's like caves and stuff. He goes like up part of the mountain through like a little crevice and then down the other side back onto the path. The dragon tries to follow him through the crevice instead of going on the path, gets stuck, and Charming's like, I bet you didn't see that coming, and he cuts off the dragon's head. So this little boy, this little shepherd right here, can kill dragons, and that's what makes him the best prince. Oh my god. Listen, I'm a morally gray kind of girl, okay? I have my tattoo here. These are my morally gray boys, all right? They're my favorite fantasy men that fit into that category. Charming is not on my arm, but Charming is in my heart, okay? I love him. He is one of the only golden retriever boys out there in media that I'm just like, oh my god. I love him so much. We cut back to Mary Margaret at school. Charming shows up to see her, and he is like leaning on the door frame. This man should not be allowed to exist on screen. Part of it, I will say though, every time I see him, he looks like my partner if my partner was like opposite coloring. So my partner Patrick has dark hair and dark eyes, and then obviously Charming's like blonde hair, blue eyes, but feature wise, Like the way their faces are structured, they're so similar looking, so it's so weird. It's like a parallel universe of my partner where he's a blonde-haired man. I'm like, what's going on? What is this? But like, look at this. He is everything to me. So Mary Margaret's all freaked out because she's like, what is going on? You left Catherine? Like, why did you do that? And he's like, I left her for you, because he couldn't keep lying to Catherine when he feels so strongly for Mary Margaret. He wants to be with her. She's like, broski, you have to go. My children are coming into the room. You cannot be here. We cannot be doing this right now. And he's like, 8 o'clock tonight. Meet me at the toll bridge. Please, if you don't show up, I'll know that you don't feel the same way and I'll never bother you again. But if you do, then we can figure it out together. And she's like, get out of my classroom. And then he leaves. Graham tells Emma that he got emergency called in at the animal shelter that he volunteers at, and he needs her to work the night shift. She agrees, but she is annoyed about it. Then Mary Margaret comes in and is like, Emma, you're not gonna believe it. David left Catherine. What am I going to do? And Emma is like, girl, you're gonna go meet him? And Mary Margaret's like, you told me this whole time not to do that. You told me to leave him alone. But Emma is like, girl, he left. He actually left. He is taking the steps, okay? It's one thing to just be like, I love you, Mary Margaret. I want to be with you. It's another thing to leave and tell Catherine and go be with Mary Margaret instead. Go to him. So Mary Margaret is like, oh my God, maybe I will. And Emma's like, you should. Get out of here. Go to your prince. David is at Granny's getting ready to leave. So King Midas turns the dragon's head into gold and is like, wow, this is incredible. Your son is like the best warrior of all time. I'm so indebted to him. Charming is like, hey, fake dad, when can I go home? And the king is like, shut up. We're not talking about that right now. Midas is like, I'll give you the gold that I promised you, of course, but also I'm gonna let you marry my daughter. That's right. This is Abigail. Yeah. So Charming's like, oh, absolutely not. But the king steps in and is like, my son is so modest and humble. Of course he'll marry your daughter. And then he turns to Charming and gives him a hug and is like, if you don't do this, I will kill you and your mother and I will burn your farm. So back in Storybrooke, David's trying to get to the toll bridge, but he's lost. He's got a map and he is very lost. Regina runs into him and is like, where are you going? And he says he's meeting someone. Regina's like, oh, are you? Okay. Well, the toll bridge is right down the road and then turn by Mr. Gold's store and you can't miss it. The trail's right there. Then she says, good luck. I hope you find what you're looking for. No, she doesn't. She is a liar. Mary Margaret is at the bridge waiting for him. David walks by Gold's shop and feels like he's supposed to go in, so he does. Once he's inside, he sees the unicorn mobile that we know is from Emma's nursery because we've seen it there before, and he's like all up on it, touching it, like enthralled by it. Mr. Gold is like, Charming? David goes, huh? And he's like, Charming, isn't it? The mobile? Gold realizes that Regina lied to Charming about the directions and gives him the correct ones. When David turns to leave, he sees that freaking windmill that was outside him and Catherine's house. He starts spinning it and he's like, I think this belonged to me, which is so unbelievably fricked up because Shepherd David had a windmill on the farm with his mom. So it's all kinds of twisted up in his poor little brain. Gold asks, are you sure? And Charming says, yes, this belonged to me. I remember. In one of the last flashbacks, we see Charming go home to his mom. She is so happy to see him. She says the king's been taking care of the farm. Everything is going up for them. They're all gonna be fine. She's so happy that he's safe. She's like, come on, come inside. I'll start dinner. And he's like, Mom, I can't stay. And he tells her what's happened with King Midas and the daughter and the king and the threats and all of that. She tells him that she doesn't want him to lose the right to marry who he loves, even if it means she dies. So she's like, just run, just go. And he's like, Mom, I've already agreed, okay? I didn't come here for your advice. I came here to say goodbye. She gives him the ring with the green stone and she says to take it and give it to his bride because it will lead him to true love. True love follows the ring wherever it goes. And as long as she knows he has it, even if she never sees him again, she'll know that he's happy and taken care of. We cut to Snow on the bridge, twirling the ring on her finger, freaking out because David is not there yet. David shows up and he's like, oh my God, you're here. She realizes that he does not sound excited. He sounds disappointed. He says he remembers everything. And Mary Margaret's like, okay, so you love Catherine again? He says he doesn't know, but he does know that at one point he did. So he has to honor what he said to Catherine, because even though he has feelings for Mary Margaret and he wants to be with Mary Margaret, the right thing to do is to go back to Catherine. He tries to apologize and she's like, it's okay. I guess it just wasn't meant to be. And she leaves crying. Emma catches someone sneaking out of Regina and Henry's house and she tackles them to the ground, and it is Graham. She's like, hello, I thought you were volunteering. And he's like, oh, I was. Regina needed my help. And Emma's like, oh, she needed you to sleep with her? It's very awkward really quickly. Graham explains that he was sneaking out because Regina doesn't want Henry to know. And Emma's like, you do this with Henry in the house? And Graham is like, I mean, he's asleep. He doesn't know what's going on. And Emma's like, I wish I was Henry right now. She throws the car keys at him and is like, finish my shift, and then leaves. David goes to Catherine and says that he's so sorry, and that when he left that first time, you know, the curse memories, how Catherine thinks they had a fight and David left, he says that when that happened, he was not leaving her, he just needed time, and then the accident happened and he got too much time, more than he bargained for. But now he's back and he wants to try again. She says that she's sorry too, and he says, even though we have work to do, I think we should see where it takes us. Then he extends his hand and it cuts to another flashback of Charming and Abigail like holding hands and announcing their engagement. Abigail is clearly very upset, but she says that she trusts her father's judgment and she'll do what he wants. The couple leaves on their journey, and this is where we first met them, you know, like when Charming and Abigail were in the carriage and he's like, how are you liking the view? And she's like, I don't care about the view, I just want to get there, how much longer? Then they found the tree cut down in the road, This time we get to see a little bit of Snow's point of view, and we see her up in a tree watching them drive by, like grinning because she's about to rob them. Back in Storybrooke, Dr. Will runs into Mary Margaret. He convinces her to talk to him because he's like, you don't even like me, so you can just tell me whatever you want, and like my opinion doesn't even matter. So she ends up telling him, do you ever go into a situation where you know what's gonna happen, you know it's gonna hurt you, but you do it anyway, and then the thing you were afraid was gonna happen happens, and you're devastated? And he's like, yeah, no, that doesn't happen to me, because I always do the unexpected, and then I never get hurt. And then he goes, so can I buy you a drink or no? And she's like, actually, you can buy me two. Look, we're stopping there because I simply can't get into my feelings about the Mary Margaret, Dr. Whale, David, Catherine situation right now. I just can't, okay? I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm upset. Oh, I gotta stop. I gotta stop talking about it because I'm gonna get heated. If you guys enjoyed this week's episode, please consider giving the video a like. And if you're enjoying the series as a whole, don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already. I make Once Upon a Time videos on Mondays and Vampire Diaries videos on Fridays. So we've got lots of content going on here, and I absolutely love talking to you guys each week. It is such a highlight. I hope you're all doing so well. I will see you so soon. Have a good one. Bye.